Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Of all the weeks, they bring you in. The 49ers will play Detroit.
And the whole country not named 49ers fans will be pulling for the other team.
Well, that would be 99.8% of America.
Yes.
And the Ravens will play the Chiefs. So let's just get it out of the way. 49 good San Francisco seconds.
That's about it. I think it's obviously going to be a home game, but that is going to be about the only
start.
That is a great start.
I can't put a price. That kind of analysis, you cannot put a price.
It's at Levi Stadium, therefore it's in Santa Clara. Weather will be good. That I think is going to help Purdy quite a bit. For some reason, he just hasn't adjusted to the rain. That's very clear. But, I think the 49ers need Deebo Samuel. I think he's 50-50 whether he's going to play. We'll see if he plays. As talented as that offense is, you clearly see a big difference when he's not in there. I think that's clear as day, but other than that, looking forward to the whole weekend. The two games you just named, I think, are going to be real good games.
Is Nick Bosa going to show? I mean, usually the Bosas disappear in big moments, and to their credit, Nick was a no-show the other night.
He was a no-show the other night. He did flush, on a 3rd and 1, flushed him out of the backfield.
The 3rd and 1 play, that tells you right there, right, that he is not fundamentally sound as a player.
No.
Because guess what he didn't do on the play?
Make the tackle.
No, he didn't put his hands up.
Put his hands? Yeah, that too.
He didn't put his hands up. He didn't put his hands up. He's not going to get to him.
Yeah.
Right? But no, it's like, okay, fine. Again, that's a lot of money for very little production.
I think his production's going down. I'll tell you, I think somebody else is going to get a lot of money for very little.
Pro Football Focus graded him at 98, I'm sure. Right? So but, instead of the usual 100, he got a 98 because he had an off day.
Yeah, that 49er pass rush as a whole has got to be better. And not only Bosa, Chase Young.
In all seriousness, the reason it has to be better is the 49ers rarely blitz.
And their secondary.
The 49ers usually just send 4. That's why they've got to get more out of those guys.
Absolutely.
Because they're not a blitzing team.
Nope.
Notice late in the game, they actually did blitz.
No.
Right? Because they knew they weren't getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that secondary can't cover. Right? And that's obviously Charvarius Ford. I think I would put in the top 5 of corners in the league. I think he's very good, but beyond that, Brown has played well. The Penn Stater, obviously. I think they miss Hufanga very clearly. Gibson is serviceable, but at the other corner position, they're a mess. Lenore
kind of describes you. You're serviceable, but a mess.
Lenore is good, not great. Ambry Thomas.
He struggles.
He struggles in a big way. There's nothing. There's no other way to put it.
But Detroit's secondary,
without Gardner Johnson,
is not a top shelf secondary. No. It's middle of the road.
No, and they're a different team on grass.
Well, and outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's outdoors and on grass.
Yeah.
And that field's only okay. It's not a great field there. But the key is going to be, does Purdy play like a first-round pick, or does he play like a 7th-round pick?
Absolutely.
He seems to go 3 games as a first-round pick, and then one game as a 7th-round pick.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, there's no doubt.
I felt like he played like a 7th-round pick the other night.
Yeah, I think so too. And then part of that again is the weather, and you as a football player have got to adjust to that. Yeah,
sure.
That's football literally, and he's not.
And that's always tough for a quarterback because do I wear the glove? Do I not wear a glove? Do I?
Right.
How do I handle it? I have to grip the ball different. I've talked to quarterbacks about is there a different grip that you have? Right, when it's raining out, as opposed, you don't want to think there, but there is slightly different.
Yeah.
And the 49ers need Deebo Samuel back because he's an X factor.
Yeah.
Even though they have Ayuk, Jennings isn't bad.
Jennings has been productive.
Kittle is tremendous.
Yeah.
McCaffrey is, a step
best
beyond
running back in football.
A step beyond mediocre.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah,
maybe 50 steps above mediocre.
The other part is
he's really good.
The best
McCaffrey's really good. So
out of all of this, we've not named their best player on offense. Their best player. It's Trent Williams. Absolutely.
Right. And I thought he was no better than okay the other.
No, and he wasn't. And that's the issue. If he has an off game, that offensive line is in big trouble because that offensive line can't block and not named Trent Williams.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys on that offensive line that need a lot of work.
But you know what? That's what you're going to find with every team.
No doubt.
In the NFL because of the cap.
Absolutely.
Who do you invest your money in?
Yeah, you have to put it in the quarterback.
Which then means you have to fill in gaps. So let's get to an issue in the Green Bay 49ers game. All kidding aside now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Who would you have had more confidence in making that kick, Robbie Gould or Jake Moody?
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Who would you have
especially in the postseason?
Who would you have rather had more confidence in making a kick up 21-17, Anders Carlson or Mason Crosby?
Yeah, agreed.
Each team had to save money because the money that would have taken to re-sign Crosby was way up there, veteran. The money to re-sign Robbie was way up there, veteran. And they went with, quote, the cheaper option. Now, it's not as if I've never announced games where Anders Carlson and Jake Moody have kicked. I have. Right? I mean, I did 2 Carlson games, and I did, 3-4 Moody games.
Moody was as good as anybody when he played.
In college. But this is a different ball game. It's a little different pressure coming at you, the whole thing. But, I mean, they both went with rookie kickers. They both, Moody had one blocked, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one blocked. And then
terrible clock management by Kyle Shanahan there.
I want to get to that in a moment. Then Carlson, of course, the one that,
just missed it wide.
He missed it wide left. Like, okay, great. Now Kyle Shanahan. We are in an era where sometimes I just don't feel like we have realistic commentary, right? Where you tell people what the deal is about people. Like, I mentioned Nick Bosa. He's blown up. I watched the games. I said some games I'm like going, wow, he's really special. And I see some games where you go, he's not really, right? I see that, right? That's not me being critical of him.
Right.
I'm just telling you what I see. He's kind of an up and down player. I mean, he had a great Super Bowl against Baltimore, but that was years ago.
Against the Chiefs.
Against the Chiefs. That was years ago. Okay? That wasn't last year. That was years ago. Right? Has he had some good seasons? Yeah. Has he had some seasons where he's been hurt? Sure. Right? But he's always been, to me, like, like made out to be, oh, my goodness. I'm like, and you're going through the game, I'm waiting for the oh, my goodness moment. Like, okay. And then sometimes he delivers it. Okay. But there's 70 plays in the game. What am I supposed to get, oh, my goodness, twice?
Yep.
All right. Like, just be realistic. He's really good. He's one of the top-tier pass rushers, but he's not effective on every play.
No.
Okay? I feel like Fred Warner is exponentially more effective on every play than Bosa is.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Greenlaw's underrated if he keeps his head on straight.
And that's just being realistic. Yep. Now Kyle Shanahan, right? Oh, what he does with motions and this and that. Okay, it's all window. That's all window dressing stuff. I mean,
and Baltimore sniffed it out. Patrick Queen saw it clear as day.
Right,
and there's no doubt about that.
But some people can.
Yeah.
Right. But you can talk about motions that they. But look, Kyle Shanahan doesn't run a whole bunch of different plays. He just runs a bunch of plays in such a way where he disguises it by using motions and so forth. Okay, that's fine. But when you're sitting there and you're 0-30.
One behind.
All right? When you're behind by 5 points or more in the fourth quarter. 0-30. Don't tell me he's the greatest play caller in the history of the game. Okay? It's obvious that the first 3 quarters count. All right? No question.
Yeah.
The first 3 quarters count.
Yep.
So he does his offense is designed to play with the lead.
Yeah.
Right?
absolutely.
Well, you have to have an offense that's designed to do everything. And with the talent he has, the talent he had in Atlanta, the talent he's had with San Francisco, he should never be 0-30 in the ability to come from behind. They should have enough talent to say, okay, hey, all right, we're down by a touchdown, here we go. And they don't do that. Why? Okay, there's something not quite, that doesn't quite click. I mean, they've never carried him off the field in the Super Bowl because guess what? Haven't won it.
Nope.
Right?
No, and I think if you're rating the 4 coaches in the playoffs right now, you probably, just based on experience, you put them above Campbell. You certainly don't put them above the other 2.
Well, yeah, I'm not putting him above Andy Reid or John Harbaugh.
No.
Especially Andy Reid.
No, not a chance. And that's coaching right now. I'm not even talking all time. I'm thinking coaching right now.
And look, he is operating with Brock Purdy, who I said can play 3 out of 4 games.
He has his flaws.
3 out of 4 games, he'll play like a first-round pick, and then that 4th game, he'll play like he's a 7th-round pick. Patrick Mahomes almost always plays like a first-round pick. Yep. Lamar Jackson almost always plays like a first-round pick. Okay, Goff's in the same category, as Purdy. All right, but I mean, just be realistic about the guy. Just be realistic. It's okay. He's a really good play caller.
Yep.
But I don't go gaga over how he calls plays. I'm like going, okay, fine. I mean, if I had Kittle, Ayuk, and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, I mean, I think I'd have a shot at least making something good happen. Right? I mean, now at some point I'd botch it up, but but it's the image that's projected that this guy is like, this guy's what? Right? He's good.
Yeah, good. Exactly. Good coach. You can't get to that great category until you have mastered what he's not mastered.
Right. He's had opportunities to master it.
With a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl.
Right.
With a 10-point lead in the NFC Championship.
Right.
Both did he let slip away.
With a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl.
With the Falcons as a coordinator, yeah. Yep.
We're like, guess what? Everybody talks about how the Patriots came back. How do you think the Patriots came back in that game?
Yeah. Especially when you.
But how do you think the Patriots came back in that game? Everybody's going to concentrate on what Brady did, blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. Right? Again, the ability to not see the whole game. This drives me nuts because the Falcons weren't scoring.
No, they weren't scoring, and play calling was not good. Right. You had the completion to Julio Jones. Right after that, you run the football, you're in field goal range, you put the game away.
No, didn't do it.
Got a holding penalty, knocked him back 10 yards. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's just certain things like Brady, look what Brady did, Yeah, what Brady did was great.
Exceptional.
But Brady was given the opportunity to do it because the Falcons stopped playing offense. Right? You have to be able to stop the team and get the ball back for Brady to do that. Well, that's what they kept doing. All right? That aside. So, look, here's a golden opportunity. Gets a chance to go back to the Super Bowl against a team that runs the ball hard. St. Brown is a tremendous player.
Incredible.
Laporte is an excellent tight end.
Yep. Offensive line's going to have some issues. They got some injuries.
Yeah, but Penny Sewell's healthy.
Yep.
Penny Sewell is really good. Now I would have drafted Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
If I'm Cincinnati, I would have drafted Jamar Chase. I think today's game you have to do it instead of Penny Sewell. Even though I knew he had a chance to be great. Still would have drafted the home run hitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So Detroit was then in a position they could draft the offensive lineman and did. But Goff's played well. Not perfect, but he's played well.
Played well enough. And he knows the 49ers. Right. I think it's very clear.
Gibbs gives them speed in the backfield. Montgomery gives them power between the tackles and a veteran that knows how to play. The secondary is an issue.
And that includes Gardner Johnson.
Right, and that's going to be an issue in the game. The secondary will be the issue for them. The Chiefs-Bills game, I'm rarely, if ever, critical of Jim Nantz. Rarely. Because first of all, he's always been nice to me.
Yep.
All right. And second of all, I think he's a heck of an announcer.
Yeah, he's incredible. He sees stuff really the analysts and sideline reporters don't see, which is, as a play-by-play guy, is exceptional.
But this is where, okay, how many times in this Buffalo game, excuse me, did we hear about 13 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was 3 years ago. Okay, you want to know the long list of players that aren't playing in the game today that played in that game?
Guy that scored the touchdown for the Bills.
Right.
Didn't play in that game.
Didn't play.
Yep.
Right. That's 3 years ago. That has nothing to do with today's game. That's pregame show stuff. Okay?
Yep.
What was the entire key to the game that was never mentioned by the CBS announce crew? What was the key? What did Kansas City do all season long to derail itself?
Turnovers.
Drop passes.
Yep.
Over and over and over. All season.
Right.
Watson
Yep.
has struggled. Has struggled. In fact, like the Philadelphia-Kansas City game, I always feel like 90% of the time the team that wins the game. There's always that 10%, though, where like somebody loses the game. Kansas City, when they played the Eagles, lost the game.
Yeah.
Right? The Eagles didn't really win the game. Kansas City lost the game because they dropped the ball all night. Valdez-Scantling, to your point, has really struggled fighting the ball all season. Travis Kelce, to a point, has fought the ball all season.
Yep, especially fumbling football.
Guess what? How many drops did Kansas City have Sunday night? None.
Not a one.
They didn't have one, and not one time did the CBS people point it out.
No.
Zero. Like, that's the game. I don't care about 13 seconds. 13 seconds happened 3 years ago. Okay? You had a haircut 3 years ago.
That's right.
Now look at it.
All right, yeah.
I'll get back to you on that. All right? But, okay, you get into these themes because it's a television show.
Right.
That the producer's probably telling them over and over again, hey, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Like, knock it off. Do the game. Okay? The key to the whole game was that Kansas City did not drop the ball.
Yeah.
In other words, third down, got to make a play. He throws to Valdez-Scantling, makes the catch. How many games this season on a key moment did he throw it to Valdez-Scantling? He dropped it. Key moment, got to get a first down. Now, Noah Gray actually has caught the ball here, and so is Rice. Rice wasn't targeted that much on Sunday.
He's been a good player, though.
Right? Gray was targeted a couple times. Yep. Gray's a good secondary tight end, good player, right? But, like, Kelsey's had drops. Like, drops. Not on Sunday.
Yep.
He caught everything, right? And Mahomes played a great game statistically because guys made plays for him.
Yeah.
Right? And every quarterback needs that.
Yep.
I mean, every quarterback needs that. That was the entire, the two keys to the game were Kansas City's adjustment to the running game of Buffalo, because they really did a great job of doing everything they could to take it away in the second half. And then offensively, they kept going. Pacheco didn't play the first time against Buffalo. He ran hard.
Big difference. Yep.
But all the payoff is every time Kansas City needed a pass play, Mahomes, of course, delivered it. Great. And guess what? Kansas City caught the ball. Right? They had a 100% catch rate in the game instead of having a 75 to 80% catch rate in the game. And those lead to punts. Those lead to punts. And you're playing on the road in cold conditions. I mean, I know it was windy too.
Yeah.
And they made plays.
Sure.
Right? And that was the entire ball game that was never brought up. Why bother being there if you're not going to talk about what makes the thing tick? Okay? I don't get that. It has been the problem for Kansas City all season with the offense. They have had so many drives die on the vine because in a key moment, a guy didn't hang on to the ball. Or when they did hang on to the ball, the dude was offsides, but they made sure he was inactive for this game. Oh, yeah. All right. Baltimore, great second half. I mean, defensively, they played great against Houston. Yeah. The only points, the only touchdown Baltimore gave up was the punt return. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
That's where Kansas City is going to have to fight for every inch in this game.
Yeah.
Queen, Smith, really good. You know, Hamilton is a tremendous player. I mean, that is the
big difference in that defense.
The best secondary players playing this weekend.
Yeah, he's on that list.
Will be Hamilton and Snead.
Yeah.
Will be the two best on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, my point about Jim Nantz is this: he's better than that.
Yeah, sure.
He sees things and knows what's going on, and the fact they never brought it up.
Clear-cut example is anytime a guy was injured and he's back in the game, Nantz pointed it out before Romo or Tracy Wolfson did.
I mean, they've got. That's something that's really bugging me about the sideline stuff.
Yeah,
this has happened all season long, where they'll go down and get an update on a player. He's questionable to return, and I'm sitting there on TV and he's standing out there. I'm like going, guys, come on.
Yep.
You know, stop looking at your notes and look out at the field. You can ad-lib, can't you? I know you're ad-libbing off your notes. I got that part.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I mean,
yeah.
I'll give you an example. It was last week. We had snow. So I get up in the morning, I look at my phone, right? And it says weather for the next 4 hours. Right? Current conditions. 12 degrees. No precipitation. I'm looking outside, it's snowing to beat the band. I'm like going, okay, I'm not going to get into which weather service it was. I said, could you look out the window?
That is something.
It's the same thing with this. You've got to be able to look out on the field and say, you know, they had some questions about him returning, but Jimmy's now back in the game, as you can see. Because they're showing it on camera. He's out there. He may be in the background. He's in the background almost every time. I'm going,
sure.
And this has happened all season long. All season long, I've seen that happen, where a guy went back in the game and they're listing him as questionable. Like, okay, why did I bother going down there?
Yep.
And Jim Nantz, to his credit, will look out. He says, hey, Tracy's back in, right?
A couple times.
Right. I mean, Jim is really great at everything around him. I mean,
absolutely.
He's tremendous. But this is one where he and Romo missed, right? Because Kansas City wasn't missing on passes because they were catching everything. And they've done enough Kansas City games where they know Kelsey has fought the ball. They know Valdez-Scantling has fought the ball. They know Watson has fought the ball. Okay? And Kansas City's offense is really clicking here in the postseason because they're catching the ball. Right? It's amazing.
Yeah, they're matching that defense because
it's amazing. It's amazing you're not killing drives anymore. Now, they did make a great point about the red zone.
Yeah,
Kansas City scored in the red zone this time. They had, it's been a lot of Buckner field goals.
Yep.
Field goals are not going to win this game. Touchdowns will win the game against Baltimore. If you keep settling for field goals
on the road, especially,
right? Yeah. You settle for 2 field goals in a row. You feel like you let 8 points get away. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's why the touchdown part's going to be so important this week. Lamar Jackson was outstanding. He plays different than everybody because, no quarterback runs like he runs.
No.
Nobody. No. And he throws the ball beautifully from different angles now. He's relatively precise with how he throws the ball. He plays with a lot of confidence. You've got to be able to keep him contained within the pocket and force him to operate from there. He is so, and this is where Mahomes is great. Mahomes is great because you got to spy him. I don't have to spy Jared Goff, and I don't have to spy Brock Purdy.
Right.
That's why they have to work harder in the red zone than Mahomes and Jackson, because I have to spy Mahomes and Jackson, which takes a guy out of coverage in the red zone.
True.
And that's what a mobile quarterback does. Goff and Purdy are not mobile quarterbacks. Right? You don't have to worry about spying them, which means you can now have the option. Do I blitz the guy? Do I drop him in coverage? It gives a coordinator more options when you have a quarterback that is more of a stationary player, as opposed to Jackson and Mahomes, where I got to keep somebody like on their toes somewhere, making sure I've got him under some semblance of control if that's possible. Right? So, yeah. Your team, disaster.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, nobody in America is rooting for your team.
Not unless you're a 49ers fan. No, I don't think so.
Half of them aren't even rooting for them.
Half of them may not be. Half of them might have been Chiefs fans last year.
Like, what the heck?
That's. I think the Lions. If you're to pick somebody who does not have a team in the race, there is no question. People are rooting for the Lions.
Well, they've never been there.
They've never been to the Super Bowl. Never been in that spot. Been to the conference championship once in 91, 92.
Washington beat them.
Washington crushed them. Yeah.
That's when they had Barry Sanders and just couldn't get anywhere that day.
I think he scored a touchdown. I think it's 38-6 or something. Yeah, they beat him pretty handily.
Yep.
That Washington team was incredible, just because it felt like a group of veterans came together.
And then you felt like they had good ownership at the time.
Oh, they did. Yeah. They had a good coach, too.
Yeah.
Guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Joe Gibbs. But it's interesting. You feel like the four best teams are in it anyway at the end. I mean, I know it's 1 versus 3s.
Yep.
Buffalo had to come back so long. To their credit, they got all the way back to get to a 2. Dallas always kind of felt like a paper tiger, too.
They were an inconsistent team.
Right, because the first time...
the Lions aren't. They are, too. But I think that's...
Right, but Dallas was one you felt like if they went on the road, it would be like, Detroit's one on the road. They beat Kansas City to start the season in Arrowhead, for goodness sakes.
Beat Green Bay at Lambeau last year, knocked them out of the playoffs.
Beat Green Bay at Lambeau this year.
Yeah, crushed them.
I know, because the next day, Sean Clifford came down from Green Bay. I told you this story, right? Mm-hmm. They started chanting, "We want Clifford, we want Clifford." He's sitting on the bench. He says, "I'm starting to feel." He's telling Jack, him, and myself this. He says, "I'm starting to feel pretty good." So then I started remembering, "We want Aller, we want Levis." He says, "All right," and that thought just kind of went out of my mind. He says, "I went up to Jordan Levis. Don't worry, Jordan, you're fine."
That Packers team, I think, has
I like them.
A good core. Yeah, they really do. And they're a young roster. They're going to have cap room.
This season told you one big thing about them. Matt LaFleur can coach.
Yeah. I agree.
He's got the youngest team in the league. A lot of unproven guys. And yet he got them this far.
And there are times,
it's perfect, but he got them this far.
Bizarre to say this. And I know there's going to be people shaking their head and calling me an idiot for it. They've done that before anyway. But it is very possible at times that even a Hall of Fame / one of the best to ever play the game can hold back your team. And I think Aaron Rodgers did that with Green Bay at times.
You're an idiot.
That's right. Kidding. That's right. Yeah, there's many saying that right now. But I think
I had to do it. You set it up. All right.
I think at times he held back. He did not necessarily get guys involved that he should have gotten involved. And I think at times he held back that team.
Well, it's very possible.
Yeah.
At this stage, you'd rather have Jordan Love anyway because
of the age. Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be your quarterback for a while. We'll see how Rodgers finally does with the Jets.
Yeah.
Not his first 4
Not that he's not. Like I said, one of the very best to ever play the game, one of the best to improv that has ever played the game. I don't think there's any question about that.
But he can't improv now like he used to.
Like he used to. No.
He cannot. And see, that's the latter stages at Green Bay. That became an issue because he could not improv anymore, which was an important element that made him a difference maker on the field, a little different than everybody else. But yeah, so Caitlin Clark got bowled over in a court storming. Mike Krzyzewski used to complain about court stormings all the time because when you're the head basketball coach at Duke and you are Mike Krzyzewski, you don't lose that often. So if somebody is able to knock you off on their floor, it is a huge deal. So Mike has been on the side, in other words, at Cameron Indoor, they don't storm the court. So Mike's always been on the losing side of court stormings, which means he's had to sit there he's tried to get to his own locker room with his players while this swarm is flying out of the stands. He's had to do that, not often, but had to do it a few times in his career. When it finally happened at Virginia, I think it was, when Tony Bennett had some really good teams, he finally just came out and said, hey, look, he says, I'm sorry, you got to do something to protect us. You have to. Mm-hmm. And he's right. Yeah. Now, I have no idea how much. Look, what was the attendance at the game on Sunday? I'm gonna guess it was like 7,000.
I was thinking 7,000-8,000. That's what I was thinking too.
And you have to anticipate in some way that because of who you're playing.
Surprisingly, actually, 18,660.
Really?
Yeah. Well, part of that I think also is, Iowa's sold out everywhere, and I think part of that is people are looking for options because people are looking for options to see Caitlin Clark, and that's the unfortunate draw the card that the Lady Lions didn't have Clark here this year.
Well, they had it here last year. People didn't show up.
Pink Zone game, exactly.
People didn't show up.
Exactly. Pink Zone game. Pink Zone game too.
Right.
But 18,660. But yeah, part of it is just the draw Clark is. I think she's one of the biggest in college sports, period.
Well, so you don't win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm talking about Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you got to understand who you are.
Yeah.
Right? At this point, I mean, look, they're the team that has Pete Maravich.
Right.
Okay? They've got her. A star. Played, by the way, scored 45.
Yeah.
What, they scored 92? She had 45 and 92 points.
Can't do much more than she did.
Right. Well, no, I have no idea how many she gave up. But that's okay. Again, you've got to be realistic about it, okay?
Yeah.
Not a good defender. I've said this over and over again. Don't just sit there and go, look at the highlights.
A good defender away from the ball.
No.
Not on the ball. I think she's better away from the ball.
No, they hide her. Jason,
they hide her.
Jason, they hide her.
They hide her, but she's good in her getting into the lane. I think she's better there, but on ball, no, she's not.
No.
I agree.
She's not a good defender. Okay? It's like it's something that she's forced to do until they go back on offense. Okay? Oh, you can't say that about her. Yeah, I can. If I'm sitting there and I'm announcing a game, I'm going to tell you, guess what? What is she, 22?
Probably around there. Yeah.
No.
Oh, the number?
What's your number?
22.
22. Yeah. Right. You go at 22 as often as you can. I'd be going at her.
She did.
Over and over and over and over again. Sorry, that's just commentary.
Not only because of her defense, she get her in foul trouble.
Yeah, but
I think that's the other part.
But again, I can score on her.
Right.
Okay? Offensively, she's superior.
Agreed.
As a show person, she is superior. Right? As an all-around basketball player, okay, defense needs a lot of work. But you can't say that if you're awful for saying that. No, I'm just a basketball person. Okay?
No, because and that's Steph Curry in 2016 too.
Oh.
That was exactly what
Steph Curry was not a great defender.
No, he's terrible.
Absolutely
he's gotten
not.
much better. He was terrible in 2015, 2016.
Right.
The Cavs ran championship plays.
They took Kyrie Irving and kept going at him
right at him.
Specifically.
Absolutely.
Right? And they took advantage of him because he wasn't a good defender. There's no getting around it. what made Jordan a great player.
Yeah. And it's underrated about what he had.
Jordan was a superior,
especially on ball,
defensive player.
Incredible.
Right? Help defense, on the ball defense, whatever. I mean, he was defensively the tip of the spear for the Bulls. He was.
It sure was.
I mean, everybody like dunks and things like that. No, I'm talking about defensively. He was a superior player.
And he made. I think you can give him the credit for making.
But that aside.
Yeah.
But that aside, let's stay away from her defense. And I know she'd prefer if we did too. Okay. But you have to expect in a situation like that, you're number 2. Mm-hmm. You have the star of all stars in your sport.
Yeah.
And you might win. And I can't tell you where the security people were.
Right.
But they come flying out of there, and this woman, girl, college student, age student, it's not, if people think it's a guy that hit her. It's not.
No, it was a female.
Right? I only watched it once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had people tell me, I've watched it 10, 15 times. Why? It's the equivalent of picking up a spare in the bowling alley. How the heck do I, got knocked down. I got it. Get back up. Okay? If they knocked down any other Iowa player, there'd be no story.
No. Heck no.
No.
No. Now, if the player gets knocked down and they're injured, then it's a story.
Now, here's the next part. Okay? Would you have known Ohio State had won?
Had Clark not been knocked down? You'd have to look further. I think that's no doubt about that.
Would you have known Iowa had won?
No. No way. Because it's the expectation. Yep.
I mean, there are 3 central figures in the sport right now. Don Staley. Mm-hmm. But how many of the South Carolina players can you name? Okay. LSU.
Right.
Okay. Everybody knows who Angel Reese is.
Everybody knows Vinlith. Yeah.
Right. Julian, her brother's going to be here in March.
Yeah.
All right. And Iowa and Caitlin Clark. Mm-hmm. All right. Maybe you know about Paige Beckers, but she's been in and out of the lineup so much with injuries.
Have hurt her. I think she's on the level as the other two, but the injuries. Yeah, it's been the problem.
But that's right now. I mean, what's going to happen with, like, eventually these players are going to migrate out.
Mm-hmm. I think Clark's got the chance to change the WNBA a little bit just in terms of attraction. I think there's no question about that. But, yeah, for the college game, they're going to leave.
The WNBA?
I think she can bring interest to the sport. I don't think it's going to go from here to here. I think it can go from here to about here. I think she can bring interest in the WNBA. The unfortunate thing, and this obviously even furthers this tragedy, I think something else that could have really expanded the WNBA a little bit and brought it from here to here. Again, you're not going here to the WNBA. It's not happening. But I think the one thing that could have done it was Kobe Bryant. It's obviously, people tracking his daughter. If she were still with us, I think there's no question that combined with Clark, I think the interest level would have gone up. I'm not saying, again, we're not talking record ratings here, but I think it would have gone up.
Okay, let's talk about the smartest thing the WNBA has done. No question. That contract they have with ESPN.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's the smartest thing they could have done.
Absolutely.
Because ESPN always promotes what they're covering. They try to pound it into your head over and over again. Right? That's the smartest thing they could have done. And I think there's been some payoff with that.
Right.
Who is the defending WNBA champion?
Yeah, nobody even knows. Yeah. Exactly.
Who's on the team?
Same.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, will she get a lot of publicity for being her?
Yeah, and that's my point. I think she's going to...
Ionescu got some publicity.
She does, but I think Clark has brought the collegiate level further than Ionescu did.
But she's like, okay. Right. I think she's with the Liberty, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have no idea how much ticket prices are in the league.
Oh, I don't either. Yeah, they shouldn't be extremely high if you want the interest level higher.
I mean, you're also paying in high rent arenas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think they're giving you a sweetheart deal to have Madison Square Garden?
No.
Really?
No. No, I've heard the rental fees from Madison Square Garden. It's a big reason why a lot of places have said we're going to Barclays Center.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
The Barclays Center, it's a lower rate. But
it's a newer arena with a nicer arena at this point.
Yeah. I mean, to a point. Yeah. I mean, look,
parking is probably on par. I think it's about even. I think there's more options.
I mean, Barclays Center's a really good arena, but not totally.
No, it doesn't set the world on fire.
With it. No, I mean, you're going kind of.
I'd make the argument, and this arena is going to, if everything stands true to form, goes by the wayside in about 7 years. The Wells Fargo Center's nicer.
Yeah, I like Wells Fargo. Yeah. It's pretty good. I tell you, a place I'd like to see is Chase Arena.
New Orders.
San Francisco, just to see it. I mean, I've never seen it, obviously. Yeah. We haven't been out there. But, look, so you have to expect you're going to have a court storming.
Mm-hmm.
If you win.
Sure.
Okay? Well, when the game goes to overtime, you need to be better organized about the ability to get the Iowa players off the floor, because that has to be your number one priority, is to get the opposing team off the floor.
Yeah.
Right? And the worst thing that could happen to you is the star of all stars gets decked. Oh, that happened. I mean, when the game goes to overtime, you have to now say, hey, look, security people, look, we got to, very quick here, we got 5 minutes of basketball action here.
Yeah.
If Ohio State wins, we got to make sure the Iowa players are protected. We got to get them out of here. Right? And you got to make sure you get her out of there. You got to make sure you get the coach out of there, the team out of there, and Caitlin Clark out of there. Right? At least you had time to prepare. The game is going to overtime. You've got 5 minutes to sit there and go, okay.
Yeah.
All right? What can we do here? Because, I mean, let's take one of the worst things that could happen to the sport right now. Say that fan, and the fan did not see her.
No.
This is one of those. They're going along. I don't think.
Opposite direction.
I don't think Caitlin Clark saw her.
No, I don't agree.
And I don't think the fan. I don't think she saw Caitlin Clark. She's going out there with a cell phone. Hey, look! Right. I'm not even looking at who she is. Right. So it's completely inadvertent.
Yes.
Right. But at the same time, that's where, like, hey, look, hey, guess what, Bob? Okay, your job. Get her out of there, no matter what. Game's over. Get out to her as quickly as possible and help her get out. You got to know who's out there. Okay, and that's where that's on the Ohio State people, because I realize because first of all, it's 100-92. It wasn't like there was a last second shot like that could have forced a second overtime or something. It's like it's over, right? I need 2 people assigned to get her out, and I need somebody assigned to get Lisa Bluter out. I need somebody assigned to make, and a whole bunch here to make sure Iowa gets out. Okay? I'm not worried about the Ohio State players, because they want to be there with their fans. Right.
Absolutely.
They want to celebrate with them.
Sure.
Right? You've got to, and you had the 5-minute overtime to make sure you had that covered, and there's no security person near her at the time, and there should have been.
Agreed.
To help her get out, right? Because, again, you've got to know who people happen to be. Now, men's basketball at the moment, I guess, would be maybe Zach Edey, but it's a little different ball game when a guy's 7'4".
Yeah.
I mean, he's 7'4".
It's a different ball game, period. Yeah.
Right. It's 7'4", but say, for example, Steph Curry were playing for Duke. All right, there's a court storming, and like, hey, and Curry's the national player of the year. Like, even Curry wasn't, but he's the national player of the year in the whole thing. Hey, I got to make sure I get Krzyzewski out of there, Duke out of there, and make sure I got somebody specifically assigned to him to get him out of there.
Yep.
Right? Because that's our responsibility as a security team. Same thing with this, okay? We need to make sure that the Iowa players can get out from the bench. We need to make sure the coach gets out, and we got to make sure, we need 2 people to make sure she gets out.
Yep.
Because because as inadvertent as that was, and it was completely inadvertent.
Right.
Okay. And she said it was scary. Right. You have to then take at least as many precautions as possible. Like, hey, look, we're here to help you. Just stick with us. We'll get you out of here. Right? Because she is who she is. She is, right now, right, with all due respect to Angel Reese, she is the face of the sport.
Not even close. Not even remotely close.
She's the face of the sport.
Absolutely.
What did she do the other day? Something she did the other day. I don't think it was football.
Well, you look at when Iowa had homecoming. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith made the trip for a one-on-one interview with her during homecoming football weekend.
Right.
So there's no question.
Oh, no.
She's
the star of stars there. There's no getting around it. She's earned it.
Mm-hmm.
She's earned it. You can tell she works hard on her game, the whole thing.
Sure.
She works hard on most of her game. I mean, she works hard on her game. I mean, superior shot maker, superior driver, superior passer. I mean, Chopper. I mean, she's really
right.
She's got the whole package that people want to see.
Absolutely.
The entertaining part she can handle.
Certainly.
Right. And I give their coaching staff credit. They do a good job of doing whatever they can to help her out defensively. But at the same time, when you go into somebody else's arena, like, that's got to be a priority. The last thing you want is to have, our security people did a lousy job protecting her.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
No.
That's the franchise.
No, you can't.
Like, and it's not the Iowa franchise. It is the sports franchise.
Basketball franchise. Absolutely.
It is the sports franchise.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and security has, to their credit, and not to their credit Saturday, or Sunday, but to their credit has gotten much better, obviously, in these situations. I go back to...
Well, I'm doing the Penn State-Wisconsin game last week, right? People said, what did you think of the scene? I said, the first thing I looked at was, did the Wisconsin players get out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I looked at.
Yeah.
Because I get concerned about that stuff.
And it should. Yeah, there's no doubt. There is no... I go back to, when Notre Dame blew that game against Tennessee many years ago in South Bend. So a fan should not be able to storm the field and take Lou Holtz's hat without security being somewhere near there.
Well, I told you, I didn't tell you the Kent DeCulvey story.
I don't think so.
So I saw Kent DeCulvey last week. And, of course, he gets the last out of the World Series against the Orioles. And what's interesting is that the Pirates had 3 different uniforms that year. The all black, the all gold, and the pinstripes.
Yep.
Which you could wear in combinations. Someday you wear the black shirt with the pinstripe pants. Some days you wear the gold shirt with the black pants. So they had all these combinations. The players were never allowed to pick what the uniform was going to be for the game. Never. He says, Steve, I think some secretary did it. Like, oh. Well, when they got to the 7th game of the World Series with Baltimore, it was the one time the players went in and said, this is what we want to wear. We want to wear the gold shirts. And the reason they wanted to wear the gold shirts was not because they wanted to wear gold shirts, but that was the combination that had them wear the hats with all the stars on them from Willie Stargell. Okay? Now, for DeCulvey, his was easy. Save, win, save, win. So he's got a whole bunch of stars on his hat. And they wore the black pants that night. So he gets the last out of the game, fly out by to Kelly. I think it was Kelly flew out to Omar Moreno. Pat Kelly was the guy that flew out to Omar Moreno. They're jumping up and down. They've run out. Steve Nicosh is the catcher. They're hugging each other, jumping up and down in the field. And then some knucklehead fan comes out. And all of a sudden you see DeCulvey furious. Now, this is the greatest sports moment of his life.
Yeah.
And now he's mad. Why? Some knucklehead came out, took the hat. Now, he loved that hat. He says, Stargell would give the stars, and people would like plop them on. Of course, they eventually fall off. He says, not me. He says, I had a needle and thread. I sewed mine in. That's how much it meant to him. Some knucklehead comes out, takes the hat. Really? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, finally, they get into the clubhouse. And now Steve Nicosia, they tried to take he had the batting helmet that he used, right? Well, he's got a mask in his hand, and some knucklehead came out and took the batting helmet. Well, I guess Nicosia hunted him down in the field and found him and, decked him.
And should have.
Right.
I don't encourage violence, but yeah, in that case, I that's...
Well, finally, a security person in Baltimore, to their credit, found the guy that had the hat and was able to get the guy and get the hat back. He brings the hat into the clubhouse and gives it back to Colvey. Colvey has possession of the hat for about 5 minutes. And the guy from the Hall of Fame comes in and he says, we'd like 2 items from this game. We'd like Willie Stargell's bat that hit the 2-run homer. We'd like your hat. Right? He says, my hat's in the Hall of Fame. I say, yeah. But a fan comes out and what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Okay, number one, you really don't have any business being out there.
Nope.
Okay?
Nope.
And if you're going to be out there, okay, just stick to, just
celebration.
Celebration. Yeah. You can jump up and down all you want, hug people all you want. Don't start stealing stuff. Don't start stealing stuff.
Agreed.
It's
bizarre.
Now, that's 1979.
Yeah, yeah, that happens today. There's 27 million cameras that are gonna.
Well, no, I saw the video myself.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's on video.
Yep.
Oh, it's on video. Yeah. And to Colby's look at, he's furious. He just went from the highest of highs to now mad.
Yeah.
Well, you should never do that if you're an athlete after winning the 7th game of the World Series or winning the NBA finals or winning the Super Bowl or winning the women's basketball national championship, whatever. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, I remember Larry Bird in '84. They won the finals. He almost killed somebody.
Yeah.
He stormed off the court, just leveled the guy and said, "Get out of my way."
Yeah.
That's Game 7. Yeah.
Well, it was Game 7. It was in the Garden, and the fans.
And that was another one, a blowout.
Right.
Should have had people on the floor.
Right.
They didn't.
It shouldn't have been there. They stormed the court. You're like, well, okay, I got it. Okay. You've won a whole bunch of these.
Clobbered a guy going on the way out. Just clobbered a guy running.
Yeah,
Didn't hit punch him.
Right. No, I remember him knocking him down. Like, excuse me, you've won how many of these?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it was an emotional series because I remember it like it was yesterday. But this is not the first championship the Celtics have ever won.
No. It's the first Magic and Larry encounter, but
it wasn't even Larry Bird's first championship.
No. Well, first Magic and Larry encounter in the pros, I should say. They didn't commit in college.
Right, but the Celtics have won in '81.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, it was an emotional series. I mean, Gerald Henderson made the biggest single play of the series. I mean, they'll go back to Game 3 with McHale and Kurt Rambis, but Gerald Henderson made a basketball play.
Was that 81? Was it 81 where Bird followed his own shot? The one where he got his own rebound under the basket?
I think so. That was against Houston.
Yeah.
That was against Houston. Yeah. The Rockets knocked out the Lakers that year.
Yeah, Sampson, the game winner. Yep.
Yeah. So.
I still, to this day, put that 86 Celtics team above anybody.
Yeah, that's the best all around.
And that Bulls team was loaded. Don't get me wrong. That Bulls and the team in '96 was second best, but I'd put the Celtics above them.
The two difference makers are, the Bulls did not have a McHale or Parrish.
Right. Didn't have the big man.
Right.
Had 3 great on-ball defenders. Right. And I add Rodman to that list. I think Rodman was an underrated defender.
And the Celtics had bench guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bill Walton's coming off the bench.
Yep.
Exactly who on the Bulls matches up with Bill Walton?
Not with Bill Walton. Yeah, Bulls had good role players, not Hall of Famers.
Like Jerry Seasting was a good player. You know, he's kind of like Paxson.
Yeah, obviously, Bulls had what? Had Paxson in the first championship, second championship. You have Kerr, you have Kukoc. I think they had good guys. Bushler, good players.
Terrific players. But
not Hall of Famers.
But Bill Walton's coming off the bench. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Feel good about it.
You start 5 guys that are now in the Hall of Fame. I think you're doing something right.
But remember in 86, the Celtics finally closed out the third and deciding game against the Bulls, and Jordan had 63. Like, hey.
Double overtime.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like kept scoring and scoring like, oh my God.
Unbelievable game.
I'm sitting there watching going, geez, this guy's good. My first thought is, I was a big Celtics fan at the time. I said, they got to get rid of this team now. This guy's too good.
He's unreal. Yeah.
Got to get rid of this team now.
And to Phil Jackson's credit, he made Jordan even better, which I didn't think was possible. But yeah, he became a better. Well, no,
when you had brought Tex Winter and they ran the triangle,
absolutely,
triangle offense,
and you run the triangle to the personnel too. Yeah, run the triangle to the personnel.
That thing ticking over there?
It might be. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's ticking. You seem to bring an element to this show.
I tell you.
There's a criminal element that you bring.
I bring the Cameron crazies in here. Go figure.
Right. So when you knocked down Caitlin Clark the other day, how did it feel?
Good Lord. I have met Caitlin Clark one time in my life, and that was last year. I didn't knock her down.
I've got video.
No, I thought I destroyed
you out there
that.
with your cell phone?
I thought I destroyed that.
You out there with your cell phone running out there? Come on. I mean, you'll do anything to make a name for yourself.
There's no proof those fingerprints were on that power outage lights in the Super Bowl against the Ravens last time.
Wiped it clean, did you? You kind of wiped it clean, huh?
I might have. I did that, or the gloves finally came in handy. One of the two.
The first step to recovery is admitting it.
Admitting it, absolutely. Especially when the statute runs out.
Oh. Show's reached an all-time low.
For the record, folks, I really did not kill the power at the Superdome. Probably somebody dialing 911 right now.
All right. So let's go to the Caitlin Clark incident. You didn't deny that.
No.
No, you didn't deny it?
No.
So you knocked her down?
Not that I know of, but... The one thing I would say, now, security did, if I remember correctly here, security did an exceptional job, because I remember her signing autographs.
Right, no.
And somebody reaching over.
She is phenomenal about it. I mean,
and somebody reached over to almost grab her, and that was all she wrote. That security stepped in immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So security here did a great job.
Yeah. No, she understands who she is.
No doubt.
And I've never ever been in the same room with her or whatever. So, but you can tell she knows who she is. She knows that she's the best ambassador that Iowa has.
Oh, not even close.
Okay, that Iowa has, and she's the best ambassador for her sport.
Agree.
And maybe the best ambassador right now in the NCAA.
I think you can make that argument very clearly. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And she gets who she is. Somebody asked me when I interviewed Michael Jordan once, and it was a one-on-one, so it was just Michael Jordan and me. And, maybe 5-10 minutes. Right. Somebody said, "What did you think of him?" I said, "He knows exactly who he is."
Not a doubt. Not a doubt.
Right. Came out to the interview, already had jacket and tie on.
And that's always how he is. Absolutely. Right? Always how he's been. And that's...
And I said, he knows exactly who he is. He knows exactly why he's doing something.
Yes.
And I sense with her, she understands the same thing. I don't know her at all.
I agree.
But I sense that she knows... She's very comfortable who she is and knows who she is.
And I think...
And knows what she means.
Yeah. I think MJ needed that year off to realize who he was in that spot. I think he took that break in 93, obviously lost his father. I think that's a big part of it. But came back and fully realized, I think at that point, okay, I'm an ambassador to this game. And obviously I'm loved.
Well, I think Barcelona showed him
showed him that in a big way. Absolutely.
Barcelona showed him like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the best in the world.
I would hope. Geez, I hadn't even thought about this. And Caitlin Clark's got to be on the Olympic team, right?
I would hope so. So if she wants to play, there's.
I mean,
no
I realize
way you can deny her a spot.
that the Brianna Stewarts and so forth are the ones
you've got to put her.
The WNBA players are going to be there. I mean, I would guess Diana Taurasi would still play.
Yeah.
I mean, but you would think they've got to find a spot for her.
You would hope so. Yeah, I don't think there's any question.
Because I think people would love to see her play, and NBC sitting there going, "Please,
yeah, please, exactly." Yeah, I don't think.
Geez, I never thought about that till now.
I didn't either until you just said it. Yep.
Boy, that'd actually be fun to watch.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah.
Also gives her a test of what a kind of a taste of what you're going to have the next level, which she knows.
Next level,
she knows. She knows.
She'll sell more tickets for that league.
Exactly. She knows, but it's still going to be the experience factor.
Right.
It's going to be a lot different than when Christian Laettner played for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Christian Laettner was the face of that team. Not quite. He's just a little off. 10 Hall of Famers and Christian Laettner.
Okay, time now for the team photo. If you could stand in the back, that'd be great. Sure. Yeah, no problem.
It's amazing when Clyde Drexler's one of the forgotten people in that team. One of the best players in the league at that time, probably top 3. And he's a forgotten guy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of guys. I mean, it's...
Oh, by the way, David Robinson played for that team.
Yeah, I know.
John Stockton, my goodness.
Stockton missed a couple of games. He was hurt.
I remember that. Bird also didn't play a lot of minutes. But
Bird played enough. Bird had 20 against Germany. Bird went out against Germany. Bird kind of carried the show that day. He was really good.
I remember they played Croatia. I think they pretty much blacklisted Kukoc. My goodness, poor guy.
Oh, well, I guess Pippen and Jordan, it was like watching a WWE tag team. All right, it's my turn. Yep, I got him. I got him. There you go.
Yep.
That was.
And then he's a teammate not long after.
Come on in, join us. But they very quiet. We must be at the end here. I don't have it.
Yeah, we're way past. That's all right.
All right. Just one quick note. When they were introducing the 72-win Bulls team, Michael Jordan was not there.
The Ring of Honor team you're talking about?
Yeah.
Where they booed?
They booed Jerry Krause's widow.
Yeah. Not a good look.
And because Jerry Krause passed away in, 18, 19, something like that?
17, yeah.
And he's always been viewed as the guy that,
the bad guy.
The bad guy that broke it up. And
he built that team.
And they booed her.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is the widow.
The widow.
Come on.
Yeah. The widow of a guy. And I think
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing matters.
I mean, he helped build a team that won 6 championships in 8 years. So, I mean, he may have made mistakes, right? He may have, especially at the end, made mistakes, right? But this is where that 10-part series, The Last Dance, made him out to be like, okay, I understand that people are the players and the coaches are absolutely entitled to their opinion about how it broke up and their own stories and relationship
about it.
Those players and
coaches would not be there without Jerry
Krause. But 25 years later, you're going to boo his widow? I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous.
What kind of fans are you? You stink as fans.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fans of one of the most storied franchises in basketball that you're saying that too, and that's a valid point.
It's one thing if they introduce Jerry Krause and they decide to boo him. Okay, right, and he can stand there and laugh about it. Okay, but not his widow. Come on,
widow, for crying out loud.
What are we doing in life?
It's bad. I agree. They took criticism. Well, a lot of criticism for good reason.
They earned it.
For good
reason.
They earned it.
And
Steve Kerr called him out, and he should have.
I mean, what's worse than that? I just went through it.
There you go.
Oh.